Most jobs end when the sun goes down. A few of them are only just starting. The people you are about to hear from all worked alone on the overnight in places that empty out and go quiet after midnight. A hotel, a cold storage warehouse, a rest stop off a dead highway. None of them were looking for anything strange. They just wanted to get through the shift and go home. 3 of them did not get an easy night. These are their accounts, as close to their own words as we could keep them. The file is open. Case number 4. I ran the night audit desk at a highway hotel for about 2 years. If you have never stayed at one, the night auditor is the person who sits at the front desk from 11 at night until 7 in the morning. You close out the day's accounts, you check in the occasional late trucker, and mostly you sit in a very bright lobby listening to an ice machine. Our hotel was 4 floors, 90 rooms, right off the interstate. On a weekday in the off-season, we might have 12 rooms occupied. Half the building would be dark. I got used to that. I did not get used to room 214. Started on a slow Tuesday. I was closing out the books and the system flagged an open balance on 214. That was odd, because my occupancy sheet said 214 was vacant and clean. I figured it was a glitch, so I zeroed it out and moved on. An hour later, it was back. 214, 1 guest, open balance. I zeroed it again. 20 minutes later, back again. Around 2 in the morning, the front desk phone rang. The little screen showed the call was coming from an internal line. Room 214. I picked up and I said, "Front desk, how can I help you?" There was no voice, just air. A soft kind of hiss, like a room with the window open in the rain. I said it again. The line went dead. I told myself a guest had rolled over onto a phone in their sleep. But 214 was vacant. I had walked that floor at the start of my shift. The door was shut. The light strip under it was dark. The calls kept coming. Never every night. Maybe twice a week, always between 2 and 3. Always that same wet hiss and nothing else. I stopped answering after a while. I would just watch the screen light up, 214, and wait for it to stop. I asked the morning manager about it once. I tried to keep it casual. I asked if 214 had ever had a problem, plumbing, phone line, anything. She got quiet in a way that I did not like. She said the room was fine now. I asked her what she meant by now, and she said a guest had passed away in there a few years back. Natural causes, she said. In the bathtub. Nobody found him for a day and a half because he had the do not disturb light on. I want to be clear that I do not scare easy, and I did not believe in any of that. But after she told me, the calls felt different. I started leaving the second floor lights on all night, which was against policy, just so that hallway would not be dark. The last night I worked there, I got the call at 2:11. I was tired and I was done being polite to an empty room. I grabbed the master key and I took the stairs up to 2. The hallway was lit because I had left it that way. Every door was shut, except 214. 214 was open, not wide, just off the latch a couple of inches, that black gap you get with a hotel door that did not close all the way. Cold air was coming out of it. Real cold, like someone had left the unit running on high for a week. I pushed it open and I said, "Hello, front desk." The room was empty, made bed, clean, no bags, no sign anyone had been in there. But the chair by the window was wet, soaked through, the cushion dark with water, a little puddle on the carpet underneath it, like something had been sitting there dripping. And the bathroom door was closed, and behind it I could hear water running in the tub. I did not open that door. I pulled the room door shut. I walked down to the desk, and I called the manager at home and I told her I was leaving and I was not coming back. She did not argue with me. That is the part that stays with me. She did not ask a single question. She just said okay, and she thanked me like she already knew. The place I worked was a frozen food distribution warehouse. Enormous. You could park a couple of airplanes in it. It was kept at about 10 degrees below freezing, so we wore these heavy insulated suits, hoods, gloves, the whole thing, and we ran electric pallet jacks up and down the aisles pulling orders for the morning trucks. Overnight, it was usually just me and one other picker on the whole floor. My guy was named Dale. Older, quiet, been there longer than anyone. He showed me the ropes my first week. He told me one thing on my first night that I thought was a joke. He said, "If you see your own footprints in the frost where you have not walked yet, do not follow them. Just go the other way." I laughed. He did not. For a few months, it was normal. Cold, boring, my breath fogging up my hood. Then one night in the back of the warehouse, in the deep aisles where we kept the overstock, I saw prints in the frost on the floor. The floor gets this thin white layer and you leave tracks in it. That is just physics. But these tracks were mine. Same boots, we all wore the same company boots, but I could see the tread and the size and they were walking away from me, down an aisle I had not gone down yet. I remembered what Dale said. I felt stupid, but I turned around and I picked from the other end. When I told Dale at lunch, in the break room where it was warm, he just nodded and kept eating. He said, "Good." He said, "Some nights it wants you to go looking for something. Do not go looking." I asked him what it was. He said he did not know and he did not want to know. He said he had followed the prints exactly one time years ago, and he would not talk about what was at the end of them. He changed the subject and we never spoke about it again. Here is the part one still cannot square. A few weeks later, Dale did not clock out. His jack was left in an aisle, still on, the dead man's switch beeping. His hood and gloves were on the floor next to it, which made no sense because it was 10 below and you do not take your gloves off. We looked everywhere. Management called it in. They said he must have walked off the job. When the police came, they pulled the time cards and the badge logs. And this is what got me. There was no Dale. Not in the current system, not in payroll, not on the badge access records for that year. The supervisor who I had personally watched talk to Dale said he did not know who I was describing. I described the man to 3 different people who worked our shift and not one of them remembered a Dale. I quit that week. On my last night, walking out to the parking lot, I passed the mouth of the deep aisles one more time. There were fresh prints in the frost going back into the dark. 2 sets this time. Both of them the company boots. I did not follow them. I have never told anyone what I think happened to Dale, because I do not have a version of it that a normal person would believe. I took a job at a rest stop plaza on a stretch of highway that most people only drive through and never stop at. 24-hour gas, a little convenience counter, restrooms. At night, the traffic basically died. Between 2 and 5 in the morning, I might see 1 car an hour, sometimes none. There was a trucker who came through regular, an older man, hauled the same route for years. He was the one who told me the rule. My first week, he leaned on the counter and he said, "Kid, you are going to be here alone at 3 in the morning, and one night somebody is going to knock on that glass and ask you what time it is. Do not tell them. Do not open the door. Just look at your register and pretend you did not hear." I asked him why, and he gave me this flat look and he said, "Because the door locks from the inside, and the only reason to ask a man behind glass for the time is to hear him talk so you know he is in there." He would not explain past that. He said, "You will know the one I mean. It does not sound right." Months went by. I forgot about it, mostly. Then one night, and I know this because I looked at the clock and it stuck in my head, at 3:14 in the morning, somebody knocked on the glass door. I could not see anybody at first. The lot was empty. No car, no truck, no headlights on the road. Then a shape stepped up to the glass, right at the edge of where the light reached and stopped. I could see the outline of a person. I could not see a face. The light from inside should have hit it, and it did not, like the light just stopped a foot short. And it asked me what time it was. But the trucker was right. It did not sound right. The words were correct. "Excuse me, do you have the time?" But it was too even, too smooth, every word the exact same length and the exact same tone, like somebody who had listened to a person ask that question and was doing an impression of it without knowing what any of it meant. I did not answer. I looked down at my register and my hands were shaking. It asked again. Same voice, same words, note for note the same, like a recording played twice. Then a third time, and then it did the thing that I still hear when I cannot sleep. It answered itself. In my voice. It said the time back in my voice, a voice I had not used, and it got the time exactly right, 3:14, down to the minute, a clock I never told it. I stayed behind that counter until the sun came up and I could see the whole lot was empty. When the day guy came in, I told him I was done. I found out later the rule was not just the truckers. Every person who had worked those overnight hours long enough had heard some version of it. Do not tell it the time. Do not open the door. And nobody who told me the rule could tell me what happens if you do, because the ones who found out are not around to say. 3 shifts. 3 people who just wanted the night to be quiet. Every one of them left and did not go back, and not one of them can give you a clean ending, because the night did not give them one. If you have worked the overnight somewhere empty, and something happened that you have never been able to explain, the docket is open. Leave it in the comments. We read them, and the ones that stay with us become a case. Sleep with a light on. We will see you on the next one.